Coming to you in low quality and low definition. This is Bad Guy Labs. I'm Jason Emerson, and with me is my co-host, Cole Koenig.
Hello.
We're here as the bad guys, so you don't have to be. But feel free to consider yourselves honorary bad guys. Welcome, and remember, we're here for you people.
Aww.
So, this week in Fake Offended People, there's this new thing out there called Atheism Plus. Perhaps you've heard of it. The reason we care about it is because we're atheists. Indeed. And, maybe at one point there was a time when I would have really sort of hammered that point home, but, and I guess I care about that stuff, but really anymore, it was one of those things, I was like, fuck it, I still think, like, creationism is retarded, and I yell at people for that still, but that's what this show is not for.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to do that. If someone rolls across my path, I'll be like, that's stupid. And if that means something to them, cool. If not, oh well.
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's sort of a fine line to walk, and this show is supposed to be, more free and fun. It's got a serious message behind it about free thinking and things like that we've covered. But yeah. I guess it's sort of an evolution, a work in progress, and we're trying to figure it out. And audience listeners, bear with us, and we'll try to get it right eventually. But we're not gonna really hammer away at these issues too much. But this Atheism Plus thing came up, and it's this week in Fake Offended People. And the reason I say that is because I'm noticing more and more, and sort of the reason we're bad guys, as I've said many times, is because we both are we don't like the bullshit, and we don't like fake accusations, and we don't like this indignation that sort of runs rampant nowadays. I think it may be part of our culture now. I guess we could analyze that at some future date.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's these people out there that they see sexism everywhere, and they see misogyny everywhere, and they're labeling people with negative labels that I don't think they deserve. And I've been given those bullshit labels myself different times in various places onto internets, and my friends have too. And a big schism is forming, I see anyway, in the atheism community. And Atheism Plus, according to some of the bloggers that have been writing about it, who are for it, have said things like, if you're not with us, you're against us. To me, that's a huge red flag, and it puts my hackles up. It's black and white thinking, and black and white thinking is seldom correct.
Yeah, the Atheism Plus thing, just to orient anybody that hasn't heard about it, or just isn't familiar at all with the atheist community, which actually I sort of categorize myself in there. If it weren't for Jason keeping me informed, I wouldn't know, because I'm more so a person that just wandered into atheism and didn't really know much about the community that existed before it sort of was brought more to the public attention in the last several years due to all kinds of people in the public eye, like Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, people writing books, going on TV shows, giving interviews, all that kind of stuff. And then that community seems to have been energized, or it's grown, or whatever you want to say has happened as a result of all the attention. It seems like it's a force out there. It's a movement, whatever you want to call it. There's a group of people out there interested in it and talking about it and promoting it and all that stuff. And all I'm saying is that's something I wasn't aware of. And then I just found out about the Atheism Plus stuff from something that showed up in my Facebook feed from another person I know that's an atheist, and from you telling me about it too. And it just seems just seems weird. Like, the general idea that I got from reading the thing that showed up in my Facebook feed is it's sort of like it's a purging of the heretics, basically.
Yeah.
But not as regards atheism or rationality necessarily. It's the idea that atheism plus, you said this earlier, before we got started here, that it's plus all this other stuff. Like, I don't know, it has a focus on, and it says things that are nice and that in general we probably would agree with. Like, it says it's focused on social justice, inclusiveness, diversity, etc. But that seems to betray or obfuscate some of the weirder shit that's going on that I'm not as privy to maybe as you are, if you want to.
Yeah, they say they're, in favor of, the plus is for, we're atheism plus, and we are for atheism plus fighting misogyny or fighting sexism or homophobia or transphobia or rape ableism, and we're for social justice, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's fine and everything, except, as I've mentioned before on the show, my area, one of my top areas of expertise is the bag of dirty tricks. And I'm seeing usage from the bag of dirty tricks and all this stuff. And I don't like it, and a lot of my friends don't like it, and my growing number of friends, by the way, just simply because of this issue, are tired of it. They're tired of being labeled. These people see sexism everywhere. They see misogyny everywhere. They just won't shut the fuck up about privilege, fucking privilege. And it's true, there is male privilege and there's white privilege. But there's a time when you can see those things and they're not really there. And that's the problem. Scientifically, for example, we need a mechanism to be able to tell the difference between things that appear to be true and actually are true. And that mechanism hasn't been provided as far as I can tell. It's easy to see misogyny and privilege everywhere and just talk about it constantly and sort of...
Well, can I interrupt you?
Jump right in.
Especially in the way that these folks seem to be talking about it, in the sense of like just regular old discourse or popping up in the media. Because like if you want to make an argument for there being disparities or prejudices in a lot of different fields, politics, education, in the economy, you can point to stuff that's measurable and stuff that we can try to understand in terms of who makes how much money and who gets hired and promoted, what sort of political representation different groups have, how much education and the quality of education different groups are getting. We can point to that and try to make an argument of why that's happening. And one of the causes of those could be, all these things they're talking about: sexism, racism, homophobia, some other shit.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to this sort of stuff that's anchored in language and that shit, the tests, as far as I know, and I agree, I wish I would like for them to exist. I don't know if they're out there, and that seems to be the thing, is they're skirting those issues where there's good, reliable empirical data, like on education, politics, etc., and they're focusing on just, you're talking shitty.
Yeah,
that seems to be it. You're talking shitty. You've got thoughts and ideas or jokes or statements you make that just don't, cut the fucking mustard with us.
Yeah. The real danger here is good people are being thrown under the bus, and when you have something that's real, like sexism or misogyny or whatever, sexism, misogyny, and privilege seem to be the top three words that are thrown around as sort of an all-inclusive. It's getting cliched, people, honestly. But when you have something serious like misogyny, you are devaluing the fight against real misogyny by accusing everyone of being a misogynist, and not just actual misogynists. And to not have a mechanism in place to be able to tell the difference between real misogynists and you're just being a dick because anybody you don't like and you disagree with, you just label as a misogynist. That's the beginning of a smear campaign. That's how that shit works.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the items in the bag of dirty tricks. So that's my real problem with it. And honestly, fine, because this is a problem that I predict will solve itself.
Well, yeah, they've established a self-sorting mechanism.
It's a filter for douchebags versus cool people in my personal life. So thanks for that. Honestly, a lot of people in this clique mindset who they're very self-righteous acting, where they're like the ones that are going to save the world from privilege and sexism and misogyny and rape ableism and all this other stuff, and they're going off just running a smear campaign, and they're isolating themselves from everybody else, which is something I mentioned in episode 4. If you have some bullshitty group that's isolating itself and makes you into an outcast if you don't agree with them, that's a giant red flag. And it's happening here. They're unfriending people left and right on the internet, and the smear campaign largely, I think, failed. So I guess that's a good thing. And also, I don't have to listen to and look at your shitty posts anymore because you've unfriended me.
It's a bonus.
I've never unfriended anybody for that. I did argue with a guy, and I told him my true feelings on all this stuff, and that's as far as it went. But I never did any unfriending. I try to unfriend as little as possible, and even if I have like douchey people on my friends list, whatever, like they can unfriend me or not. I'm not gonna listen to their bullshit, and I'm gonna put up the shit I like, and that's how I see it as working. But also, there are many various events and conferences and things like that in the science community and the atheism community, and etc. There are many labels for all this stuff that sort of interchange science, skepticism, atheism, humanism, rationalism. I guess those are the biggies. Freethinker, yeah. That's sort of a little further off. That's sort of where we are, because there are a lot of people that
more generalized.
Yeah,
maybe.
There are a lot of freethinkers, for example, that think magic is real. So you take that for what it's worth.
Fair enough.
But these communities have a lot of conferences and events, both in the real world and online. And in the real world conferences, these Atheism Plus people are declaring that they're not going to go to the conferences anymore. And fucking fine with me. Don't go. And I've been yelled at many times about my attitude toward this, and I don't care. I don't care. If you want to yell at me, fine. I don't give a fuck. And this stuff is bullshit, and I'm amused watching it, and I'm interested in watching this problem solve itself, and I'm interested in having these douchey people more and more out of my life. And like I said earlier in another show as well, everything gets better and better when you just finally come out and you say and do what you want to do and say. More cool people come into your life. You meet more of the right people. And, I just can't say enough how you should stand up for yourself and stand up for what you believe in, unless you're a neo-Nazi, as I said earlier. And or something like that.
Well, even then, they could say whatever the fuck they want, but if they try to blow up a building, they're probably going to get a bullet between the eyes. So.
Right. The thing is, everybody in every group thinks they're doing the right thing. And that's not enough for you to simply think you're doing the right thing. Your actions are important, and you yourself are not a good judge of yourself. So that's why this just looks like another one of those cliquey groups. Some people have said it's culty.
Well, it's got that puritanical element I've talked about with other things. Like that idea of it's a rejection of something or an embracing of new doctrine. You know what I mean? It's like when we've talked about vegetarianism. And this isn't necessarily an idea original to me, but it's that notion that, regardless of any evidence regarding meat or meat eating or any of the shit vegetarians do, I don't really know because I don't give that much of a shit, but it's somehow the rejection of something that the rest of us like, that everybody told you was okay. and you're setting yourself off, and you're saying, no, I'm going to not do that because of whatever reason. Because I would be surprised if the majority of people who became vegetarians or vegans did so because they genuinely didn't like meat. It's probably for some other more ideological reason.
Yeah, that puritanical mindset that you've been talking about. For some reason, and this could be, maybe somebody's done research on this, but this idea that purifying yourself in some way through suffering often, and what is it? So denying yourself things. I don't know what makes people want to do that. Maybe it's built into us for some reason, evolutionarily. I don't know, but I'm not into that crap. I'm into beer and hookers and mind-altering substances, and also all the finer little things that life has to offer. Not even finer, just a burger, or just being free to walk around. I mean, you can't even do that in some places. It's all these things that I don't know why you would want to deny yourself of things like that when you don't have to. For this vague notion of purifying yourself through denial, I just don't get it. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I'm just speculating out of my ass, but...
Well, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's what
we're here for, is to talk about what wanders across our brains. Because it does seem to be that there is some fundamental mechanism about human beings that you need to be able to delay. It's that whole delay of gratification. You need to be able to save seed so you can plant seed in the spring and, keep a farm going. And, you can think of a lot of little ways in which it might be useful to delay gratification. But now we've gotten into a society that's just, it's too easy to survive. You know what I mean? You can go to the grocery store 7 days of the week, 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day now. And immediately, right now, I need a key lime pie. God damn it. Yeah. And you can have it right now, the whole goddamn thing for yourself. And it costs less to buy the pie than it did to drive to the store.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Exactly. So in that, and I can envision in this world of overabundance, when you're going to say, no, I'm going to reject that. I'm not going to just sort of make my way through it and find the things that work best for me or that I enjoy. I'm going to purposefully limit myself create a category or a list of items that could be totally arbitrary to an outsider, and just say, okay, I'm going to go one step farther. I'm not just going to balance my checkbook and have money at the end of the month. I'm going to also not eat meat.
Yeah. So whatever, what the fuck ever. Do that if you want to. Leave me the fuck alone. Stop calling me names that I don't deserve. That's all I care about. So to tie this up into a nice, neat bow, Atheism Plus gives the appearance. If other people have wanted to call it culty, I'm not going to argue with it. I don't know if that's the word I would use, but I mean, it's heading in that direction sometimes. It's got a lot of dogmatic, sort of authoritative shit going on, rather than real critical thinking, which, by the way, is something they claim to embrace, but...
Well, it just seems, I don't know, ill-disposed as just a thing. It's like saying, it's like the Catholic Church saying, we're going, you can join the church as long as you've never committed a sin. It's kind of like, okay, so, I don't know. It's just not very umbrella-y. And if that's what you want to do, I guess that's what you want to do, but...
It looks irrational to me. Maybe that's where people run into they sort of conclude towards the label of culty. It looks irrational. A lot of the people I've talked to and interested in it are emotionally driven, and emotional drivers are some of the worst contaminants of clear critical thinking.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where the people inside it are just not going to see how fucked up they are. They're just not going to see it. This is one of those areas where it's another irrational ideology forming. It's fine, I guess. And call me a series of names. Tell me to suck a bag of donkey dicks. I don't care. I'm happy to just sit here in my facility with my co-host running free thought experiments, and occasionally shooting watermelons and other items with shotguns. And I have a fine, happy life. I'm not a rape ableist, and I'm not a misogynist. You can believe that or not. The many women in my life would agree with that.
As far as I know, I've never enabled a rape.
Well, that's you're not a rape enablist.
As far as I know, I mean,
and
unless that guy like I gave $5 to on the street, the homeless guy, that he was able to eat a sandwich and get up just enough energy to go raping. But
he's like eating that sandwich and he's thinking to himself, feeling rapey. So, and the other thing I had to sort of figure out too in my head was I looked up to some of these people. Dare I say, even engaged in some hero worship years ago. I really don't know if I have true heroes at all, except for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Other than that, I'm not really sure. But I
get with that.
I know now why they say you shouldn't meet your heroes, because they're humans, and you see them warts and all, and they're not heroes. They're not really heroes at all. There's some great people out there, and there's some other people that have been a big disappointment to me who I thought should have known better. And so now I run my own show, and Cole and I are here in our facility as partners, and we it's been better than ever. Maybe that's just what it takes sometimes to get to that next echelon of enjoyment in life. You can't be friends with everybody, and you can't be liked by everybody, and you can't please everybody.
But then if Atheism Plus goes the way of vegetarianism, there'll be a lot of guys who are plus atheists, and then they get laid, and they don't really care so much anymore. Sort of like vegetarianism. How many guys break up with their vegetarian girlfriend, and what the fuck do you know? They're eating hamburgers a week later.
Yeah.
So maybe this is yet again just there are complex social processes, but there's also the element of just wanting to get your dick wet.
Just like Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction. I'm a vegetarian. Well, my girlfriend's a vegetarian, which pretty much makes me a vegetarian. This is a tasty burger. So
yeah, that's that in a nutshell.
that's what I've sort of had in my head for years, and you've just clinched it. So regarding the Atheism Plus movement, I wish you all nothing but happiness. I think you're full of shit, but it doesn't mean I don't like you, or that I think you're bad people necessarily. You do haul out items from the bag of dirty tricks, and you are running something of a smear campaign at least some of the time. And for that, I think that's horse shit, and that's our fake offended person of the week. This week it would be people. I have a solution for this. Since I'm not interested in joining any of the irrational or emotionally driven cliques that seem to have cropped up in these various rationalist, atheist, skeptical, humanist, rethinking, etc. communities lately, especially if their motto is you're either with us or get the fuck out, which I've actually seen people say.
Nice.
I'm a subversive free thinker through and through, and I'm going to stick with thinking independently through science, or tits, or get the fuck out.
That could be our motto.
End of fucking rant. Except for all the addendums we're going to throw in later.
Oh man, that was I need to do like a colon cleanse after that conversation.
I might have some coffee upstairs.
Coffee enemas.
Let me see. There's some rubber tubing around here from the brewing operation I could grab.
This is rapidly going the wrong direction. I mean, I know I aimed it towards the ass, but I was just playing. I don't actually buy into ass-based medicine.
So, as we're proud to always say, we come to you in low quality and low definition, but
slightly less low quality and not quite as low definition this week. We have acquired a new microphone, and we are processing the audio through new software.
Yeah, so it should be a little nicer. It'll still always be proudly brought to you in low quality and low definition, but bounds of reason. We were using a big piece of shit for a microphone, and I'm happy to have that out of my life. Much like some other things I recently mentioned. So we will strive to improve, sort of, in certain ways.
I mean, we soundproof the room, and by soundproofing I mean we painted it.
I went by the sort of the wishful thinking that an Atari 2600 acted as a little bit of soundproofing. Maybe it'll contribute to the room in some way, make the acoustics, just so. That's basically the angle I was running on.
That's fair enough.
We're gonna test that.
There will be mini tests. We'll have a robot butler carry them out.
Sexy robot butler.
It'll be good times.
Yeah.
I'm fucking tired today, dude. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't have to get up for anything.
I actually wanted to jump in with one more little thing.
Okay.
So we mentioned on the show, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, Rape Man.
We did?
I think so. I mentioned it really fast because you were talking about something about TV or something. I don't remember what it was. And then I said, like Rape Man. And I said, we'll cover it later.
I'll take your word for it. I just, it's one of those things you think if it snuck into your head, you go, wait, Rape Man? So if I'm apparently slightly desensitized to the concept. So you might do better to explain it to the listening public.
So I discovered Rape Man because somebody posted it somewhere and I saw the post, and so I was like, well, that looks weird. I have to check that out. And it's a cartoon on YouTube, and it's really what it is well, it's weird enough because the cartoon actually is a Japanese, I guess it's anime. That's probably the category. It's a Japanese anime, and it's about a man who goes around raping people like a superhero. So that's weird. It's not like that was changed, but they did redub the audio.
Kind of looks like the Phantom, right?
I guess, yeah. Like he has like the typical sort of darker,
like the mask over the eyes, and
the darker sort of superhero-y look to him, or super villain, or whatever. That there's sort of the Superman sort of bright and airy kind of outfit, and then there's the the darker othery style.
The Batman sort of.
Yeah. So I watch these things. They're like short, and they're just little cartoon dubs. So basically they redubbed it so that there's a whole bunch of like comedic quips like dubbed over the Japanese that I can't understand.
So the relationship between the English dubbing and what it actually said, hard to say.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure there's no translation in Japanese for "it's dangling time." So
how dare you? You'd think that's highly idiomatic, but you're wrong.
So I watched this. I showed it to a bunch of my freethinkery friends when they're all over at the house. And I was even a little worried, like, Jesus, should I show them Rape Man? Like, it's pretty fucked up. But I wanted to analyze it. I wanted to see what other people thought of this. And
they might have felt differently if you had come out in your Rape Man costume.
Yeah, well,
you made.
Yeah, bounds of reason. You gotta like work all this shit in slow.
It's true, baby steps.
So nobody was offended. I was worried that people would be. And this was back before I said fuck it about everything. So I think it's okay to analyze things like Rape Man. It doesn't mean that I endorse rape. And even if there are rape jokes that I laugh at, I've said this before too, that does not mean I like rape. And if you say that that's how it is, then you think George Carlin likes rape, because he's said rape jokes before, and so have many other comedians that you probably like, person out there that I just made up. This is where you need to be able to tell the difference between somebody who likes rape and somebody who is either analyzing something critically or likes a joke because it's absurd and is actually the opposite of what that person thinks. You know, that's if anything, when I laugh at a rape joke, it means I extra super duper hate rape.
Right.
So fuck you.
Well, like, it's not topical anymore, but I mean, it reminds me of the Daniel Tosh thing, where everybody got their, you know, panties in a bunch.
Right.
Because he said, I don't even know what the fuck he said. I don't really care. But it's like, he's not the first comedian, and not the only male comedian, and not the only comedian, male or female, to make rape jokes. Like, some of the funnier rape jokes that I even remember were made by Sarah Silverman.
Right. Yeah. She must love rape.
Totally.
So you can't jump to that conclusion, and this is where the whole rape ableism label, the smear campaign of that comes in. Like,
handy rapeable. You
can't.
That's just what I think of when you say that word, rape ableism.
Dare you, sir? I think that it's. This is where black and white thinking comes in again, and this is why I'm against it, because it's not like that in the real world. There are many subtle gray area levels, and you know, and honestly, when I watched Rape Man with my friends, we all laughed, like,
yeah.
And because it's ridiculous, it's absurd, and so the ending. Should I give? I guess I'm going to give away the ending. Fuck it, because it's worth talking about. The ending. There's like 3 little clips, and they're each a few minutes long.
Like little vignettes.
Yeah. So the last one, Rape Man, actually, normally, I don't know what he's doing some of the time. He's just raping people. Like, he like goes into their apartment or whatever and rapes them, and all these overdubbed English quips are there. And the last one, he like chases down a jewel thief, a female jewel thief, and like catches her and like rapes her via like Spider-Man ropes and shit. Like up in the air, like in skyscraper, like with a skyscraper backdrop, and it's just outrageous. It's crazy. And then of course, like she actually comes around and like realizes the error of her ways to not be a jewel thief anymore. And you know, no, that doesn't mean like raping people is how you like handle jewel thievery.
It's not going to be, nor should it be, the latest like law enforcement technique.
Right. And again, it doesn't mean I'm in favor of any of this shit. It's absurd, and the sort of keystone to the absurdity for me was she says she's learned her lesson, she's not going to be a criminal anymore, and she says thank you, and then he says don't thank me, thank rape. And they fade into the song I Will Always Love You by what was her name?
Celine Dion?
Was it? No.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston, yeah.
Jesus.
Whitney Houston.
My pop culture knowledge. I just lost some sort of credibility with People magazine readers.
Well, we can dub all that out. Probably not going to.
Oh, fuck.
But yeah, so he says, don't thank me, thank rape. And then Whitney Houston's song comes in and the credits roll, and that's the end. And it's that absurd statement. It's a level of funny and absurd. And it's because it's such a touchy subject as rape. And a rape as punishment, along with superheroes and everything mixed in. It's just like a perfect storm of inappropriate humor. And I make no apologies for discussing this, laughing at that joke, showing it to my friends, and denying being a rape ableist.
Right.
Now, Cole, on the other hand, is a gigantic rape ableist.
It's true. I have, from a distance, witnessed multiple rapes in progress, and just went and got a burger. I not a single fuck was given on those days.
Send hate mail to
send hate mail to colecannon at fuckyourself.com. Well, that's why some of that shit's annoying, is because it's like, how many of these rape ableists are actually like joining Amnesty International and working on reducing the amount of prison rapes? How many people, are actually trying to do something about the fact that like campus rape is cliche? Like, we just all go, oh yeah, it's a college campus. We just have to take it for granted that it's just rapey. it's just rapier than the surrounding areas. It's like, if you give that much of a shit, do something about it. Don't criticize me because we're making rape jokes. You know, I don't think it is a good thing. But you know what? I'm not out there saying that I don't know. I'm just gonna fucking go down the rabbit hole on this one if I keep talking.
Well, again, it's absurdity, and it's the opposite of what we really think, and it doesn't mean we're for rape or any of that shit. It just means that we see an absurd situation, and some studies have even shown that we laugh at things because it's a mechanism for spotting things that aren't quite right.
Yeah.
So again, if I'm laughing at a rape joke, sometimes laughter can mean different things, and I think that it means that my absurdity detector is working, and I think glorified rape is absurd. Now, when you sort of piece together these elements and put them together in a narrative and with flashy colors, or with a comedy writer, or whatever, that's what you get. You get a laugh out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, and in human sexuality books that I've read, many people have rape fantasies. Women have fantasies about being raped, and men have fantasies about doing raping. It doesn't mean that they like real rape, but it's one of those things that's just sort of wired into the human brain, and you shouldn't make apologies for that. That's sort of where the BDSM community comes in. That's something they're into a lot. They're into being tied up and punished and whatever, and I would not accuse those people of being rape ableists any more than somebody that laughs at a joke.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people, I think the problem with these people is they get offended, and I guess this must be like offended people 2.0 for this episode.
People plus.
They can't tell the difference between when somebody's kidding and not, and they don't understand absurdity, and they don't understand that the people, just because people think something or are wired to have some proclivity, such as having a woman having a fantasy about getting raped, doesn't mean anything else. It doesn't mean you get to make all these dumbass conclusions about it.
It doesn't mean that if you rape her, everything's cool.
Right. That's not what that means. So, and it doesn't mean that any guys associated with this in any way are all, privileged, misogynist, sexist, rape ableists. So, suck a bag of donkey dicks.
It seems like a stupid guy thing to do. Like, if your girlfriend or wife talks about having a threesome, like, in order to, like, get you excited when you're, as a form of foreplay, don't bring a woman home one day and expect everything to be kosher. If you're that fucking stupid, I don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
Like,
so I've just put myself out there as a fodder with all this rape man talk, fodder for the smear campaigns of the world, and have at it, people. To your heart's content.
Me too. I don't give a shit. Enjoy.
So
fuck off and die.
Did you have something about TV that related to this? I can't remember. Stupid TV or something.
TV. I don't know.
We were watching Rape Man on my TV.
We were watching Rape Man on your TV. I watch Ghost Hunter shows on my TV, unless my wife's home, who hates them, and then I'm not allowed to watch. One of my favorites is on, I think it's on the Biography channel, and I'm unduly, or what I don't know if unduly is the word I want. The show does not merit my fascination with it, but it's Celebrity Ghost Stories on the Biography channel.
Go on.
So it's basically just like an hour-long show with like usually 3 or 4 different celebrities telling a ghost story of something that happened to them in their life.
And you watch that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Are you trying to purify yourself through denial of pleasure?